Hey everyone, welcome to the BBQ Brews Show. I'm your host Reyan, and today on the show we've got Luke Leyson on the show. I'm saying the show a lot. Luke is a butcher from Goodwood Butchery in South Australia. He's the captain of the Australian butcher team. They did the Butcher Challenge last year, the World Butcher Challenge, and looking to go this year as well, which we're looking forward to. And he hosts the Meetup podcast. So Luke's coming on to talk about everything butchery, running a podcast, and I guess what it's like, being part of the World Butcher Challenge as well, and part of the Aussie team. So I can't wait to get Luke on. But before we do, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Firstly, Without Fear, who basically create clothing to inspire conversations. 100% of their profits go to mental health projects that tackle the fear as a barrier to getting help. To find out more about Without Fear or to purchase their gear, visit withoutfearco.com. Just want to make sure I read that out properly. And use BBQ15 at checkout. So BBQ15 at checkout to get 50% off. And like I said, all profits do go to, help these projects out. And make sure you follow them on Instagram too, at Without Fear Co. Second sponsor is Mama Melise, long-time supporter, first-time sponsor. So Mama Melise makes some amazing hot sauces and mustard. Well, hot sauce and mustard, singular. These are amazing. They sort of, come from my background, which is Schwanken, and amazing flavors. Go check them out at mamamelise.com.au. And our favorite print company or design company, Ground Zero Design and Print Company, who create some of the amazing designs we see in the barbecue community, including the BBQ Brews logo, which is on your screen at the moment. And if you want to find out more, or if you want to get some teas printed for next ABA event, look up Ground Zero Design and Print Company on Instagram and Facebook, and have a chat to them, and I'm sure they'll help you out there. Okay, without further ado, let's get our guest on. Luke, let me just add him to the stream. Welcome, Luke. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Good. I think I nailed the intro. We'll see how we go.
You did. It sounded beautiful.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Now we can't go too much further without cracking our beer, hence the name of the show, sort of thing. So, what are you drinking today, mate?
Today I got a Pirate Life Pale Ale. So I was actually just down at Pirate Life this morning doing some classes, and gave me one of these, and they said they've just done a new batch, like a new and approved version of the old recipe. So that's what I'll be cracking today.
That's all right. I know there's a giveaway happening at Pirate Life too. So if you buy some beer there and enter your I think one of the codes, you can win tickets to Meatstock as well, which is kind of cool.
You go there, other
yeah. You can't. There's no other beer there, which is unreal. So I'm gonna crack a Brewy Colo's Ocean Grove Lager. So these guys are down my way, which is totally off focus. There it is. And they just sort of brew a microbrewery down here in Ocean Grove and around my way. So cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers, mate. Tell you what, it's about a 39-degree day today as well, so I've been waiting for that beer.
Oh, mate, yeah, I saw the weather coming too. I think we're going to hit some of that tomorrow as well. So it's going to be interesting weekend coming up, but not good for barbecue, because as soon as there's tall fire ban, then that kind of puts a bit of a damper on my cooking.
Yeah,
but Luke, let's start with you, mate. Give us your butchering history. Why did you become a butcher? Where did inspiration come from? And I guess more importantly, how long have you been a butcher?
Well, I've been in the industry since I was 13. So my dad walked past the local butcher shop and saw that they had a little sign in the window, wanted a clean-up kid wanted. So he threw my hand in the ring. Cleaned up after there every school day, Monday through to Friday. I think it was 4 till 5:30. So real grueling hour-and-a-half shift. Used to get paid $50 a week. I remember that. I can never remember what I spent it on, but I think it was just Macca's, and maybe I bought some sunglasses, or maybe that's somebody else's story. But yeah, I reckon it was just Macca's. But yeah, I worked there, and then I started my apprenticeship at 17. So I didn't go straight from cleaning into an apprenticeship. I kind of dabbled in working at McDonald's. So went straight to the source and got discount from them. So, but then went back to the apprenticeship at 17, and haven't looked back. So I guess the reason behind it though, like I just kind of fell into it, and it's not a an amazing story, but it's one that a lot of butchers share as well. They kind of didn't know what to do, had an interest in food, but I thought it'd be a good stepping stone to become a chef. And then by the time I kind of finished my apprenticeship, I realized that chefing is it's an amazing trade as well, but it's probably a bit more grueling on the hours. Split shifts, and you kind of working when everyone's having fun. And the social life's great, but also not great because you spend it with your work crew, probably not your work your normal your friends that such. So I just stick to butchering. The aircon room, it's not too bad.
No, that's it, mate. And I must admit, with hospitality too, I was going down that path myself in end of high school, and I did like my first split shift, and I'm like, no thanks. That was the worst. And I know some people love it though. Some people actually dig the split shift, but that was kind of like my the last straw that broke the camel's back from a decision to move on. And I guess he went into an IT role, which is kind of where I was for a while till I started doing some of this barbecue stuff. So it's it's interesting backstories, but and so I mean 13. So how many years? I guess 17 when you started your apprenticeship. So how many years have you been a butcher now?
Well, let's say 17. So that'd be 14 years I've been, with a knife in my hand. But 18 since I started. 18 years since I started in the shop. So it depends what narrative you want to spin. I think I can say 18 years in the industry or 14 years with a knife in my hand.
Mate, just all depends it depends what it looks like on LinkedIn, really. That's all that matters.
And people go, well, it's 31. How does that bloody work? It works. No,
mate. And look, it's been, I guess, over the years, you've been a butcher and you've seen it for the last 18 years. The change, what's the change been like for you? I suppose we've spoken to a few of the older butchers, and they really see that real historical change of like the way meat was, what people bought back in the day and things like that, and how things have changed from a barbecue sense. So people come through and there's different cuts, but what have you seen, I guess, in the last 5 to 10 years in the change in the butchering industry?
Well, I guess it's good as well because I've worked with some older butchers. So even if I haven't seen the change, I could talk to them and they've told me kind of how it's happened as well. But I remember from an early point of view, the shop I worked at, so it's still the same, I guess, owner of as well, Dave Armstrong. He put me through my apprenticeship and I still work with him to this day. So I've kind of gone on the journey along with him with all these different shops. But we are now, it's very craftsman. We make our own small goods, hams, bacon, break carcasses. It's very traditional in the sense, but not a lot of value adding. Or our value adding is the small goods and the bacon, hams, all that kind of jazz. But I know you probably more so in Sydney and Melbourne, you see a lot of value-added products, oven-ready products, ones that pop in the oven. Has been a massive change, and that's. I remember I was chatting to Paul Suleiman, which I reckon you've had on the show in one of the meat stocks. When value-adding started coming in, crumb schnitzel, the crumb chicken breast was the craziest thing they'd ever seen. Like, let's whack some breadcrumbs on a chicken breast, and people were going crazy for it because. Back at the start of Goodwood Quality Meats has been since 1963. So used to be sides of lamb hanging up and come in, get them for $2 a kilo, go home because they didn't trust anyone else to cook their food for them. There was no restaurants. There was no going out for dinner. It was you go to the butcher shop, get a bulk bit of meat, take it home and do your own cooking. But I guess the changings is as well. Like we've obviously barbecue in the last 5-6 plus years really come in and really change the product that does go out. The prices as well. You probably never imagined spending $25 a kilo on pork ribs. They used to get boned out and left on the pork loin in a roast because you get that meat in the roast and get money for it that way. But now, like that. I used to remember see lamb shanks for $2 each. Now they're upward of $20 a kilo because these things become trendy. The chefs they work out what to do with them and they do a really good job of them. So for people have them out, people go, I'll give that a go. Get home as well. And but I think before barbecuing, it was always we always used to see this massive influx of MasterChef was on, you'd have a recipe on the Wednesday night, and it'd be like, or a mystery box with a bloody shoulder in it or something like that, and then people would be coming in the next day going, and you'd sell out of them. And before that as well, my boss Dave, the Women's Weekly, that would have a massive impact with the recipes that they put in there, and you'd see that kind of come through the shop as well. So there's always something, and I reckon they're the top three that have kind of stood out for me is the Women's Weekly, the MasterChef, and now like the barbecue cuisine and the barbecue era.
Yeah, man, that's I must admit, MasterChef had a massive impact on me. You sort of watch it, and I did the same thing. Just go down to the butcher and grab something that was was cooked the day before, and give it a go over the weekend. So that's unreal. The Women's Weekly, that's an interesting insight. I haven't actually heard that from anyone. So that's cool. And you did mention Paul Sullivan as well. So obviously he's retired, which 40 years. What a massive journey that was.
Yeah, well,
the man's a genius.
He's calling it a gap year or a gap 3 months or 6 months.
Is he going to Europe? Is he?
I don't think he's going to go any backpacking, but he's just going to have some time off, and he's built up some leave and some. He's gonna. I think his main quote is going to sit by the beach and figure out what he wants to do next. But you can tell he still loves it as well. Like he I don't know. Now that I think he's got this weight off his shoulders at the shop. He's just gonna, I don't know, have some time off, and he might pop up back at our work. He might pop up at another shop. He might do repping. He's got to go back to work at some point. He's got he's got a partner and he's got a daughter, so they're got to be spending all his money. So he's got to go back to work at some point. But what he does is I'm not sure yet. So we've got to wait and see. But big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and I must admit, like even Mark, my co-host, interviewed him at Meatstock in Sydney, and you can see the passion and that drive that he has. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere too. So looking forward to seeing what the Paul Sullivan 2.0 is going to be when he comes back and reinvents himself. So hopefully still in the industry and doing some amazing stuff, and hopefully teaching people as well, because he's got some skills there that 40 years it just needs to share that with everyone. Yeah,
and he does love teaching as well. So hopefully he can.
He was doing the classes, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. No, it's unreal. Now, you sort of, there's obviously a couple of different ways. What's your favorite style of butchering, or what do you like doing at the butcher shop the most? Like, what's, I suppose, being there for 18 years, probably done everything, but where do you specialize now?
Well, I guess my role at the shop now is I'm the sausage man. Like I make all the snags. I process everything that goes through the mincer. Burgers, snags, patties. I'm kind of going into the small goods as well. So I'm a qualified small goods maker.
Cool.
My apprenticeship when I first done it was actually a meat processing and small goods apprenticeship. But since then I have done my Cert 3 again in small goods, and now doing my small goods manufacturing. So going on to all of the dry cured stuff. So prosciuttos, Black Forest, Nuschinken, like dried sausages, and getting really awesome into that. So it's a little bit, I've said this to my boss, it's a little bit it's not frustrating, but it's something that I haven't done before. So it actually, like, instead of going into work and being just like, get on the knives and know exactly what I'm doing, it's just like clockwork. I've really had to kind of take a step back, slow down. And at the end of the day, my head hurts because it's got a lot of science behind it, like like pH levels and cultures and stuff in it. Yeah, and I'm not used to doing something that I'm not really good at or know back to front. So it's good because it's testing me out, but it's kind of my role at the moment and what I'm moving into. So lucky enough that the thing that I do like doing is the thing that I do majority at work as well.
No, that's unreal. And I think that's the, I like the fact that butchering has that range and variety that people can actually spend some, you can spend, like you said, you spend, 18, 20 years or whatever. And now you're doing something completely different and challenging. So that's unreal. And, you talk about, the sausage man there. What's are you going to go into the sausage linking competition at all anytime in Meatstock? I know Shannon sort of, reigning champ, and he's won a few, but I think he's won a few by default as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I reckon if I got there off stage, and I hope he's listening, I'd like to measure the sausage link, the casing. I reckon Shannon maybe does he get a smaller one? I don't know how to work that. He's bloody quick. Like
he's bloody quick.
He ties sausages like no one I've ever seen, as in his technique is different. Like for some reason, I don't know, the butcher listening, like instead of pulling it up to tie 2, it's almost like he pulls it up to then tie 4 or something. One twist. It's weird. I don't know. I'm self-proclaimed horrible at knots. So butcher knots, even tying sausages when I first started, like I tie them left-handed because the guy who taught me was taught by a left-handed. So it's really odd, but it just took me so long to get my bloody thick skull around it. Like I have to do something over and over and over and over and over again until it finally clicks. Then I go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that Shannon did talk to me because we done a sausage linking competition against the Kiwis in the lead up to the World Butcher Challenge. So it was myself, Craig, and Shannon, and we won. And it was like, I don't know, I felt like we were on the big screen at is it Eden Park? Is that I think they're big. Yeah, they're big. They're big rugby stadium. We're on the big screen at this rugby stadium, and we just nipped them as well. But yeah, Shannon tried to show me the way that he tied, and I said, "Look, mate, I can't mess with the way I tie my head.
Especially just before the comp.
I'll lose it. Yeah, so maybe now that he's heard this, he's probably going to try to challenge me. But nah, I reckon he could beat anyone. Just putting it out there. Like I don't even know at any point going up there. He's just quick. Yeah. All right. I just don't think I could beat him if I went out there and tried. So.
No, it's fair enough. And I must admit, like sort of sticking with the meat stock topic, I love the fact that butchering, deboning, sausage linking, you got all these like amazing things that people do and trades that are, I guess, such back of house trades, for lack of a better explanation, that are getting celebrated on stage. I reckon it's just so cool to see. And then even the butchering challenge, just to see, or the butcher challenge rather, just to see that happening is just really cool. Actually, I feel like there's a shift in people's thinking on what butchers do and their importance in our society. So, are you finding that yourself? Is that something that you're enjoying seeing and being a part of?
Yeah, and you're exactly right there. It used to be something that kind of got pushed to the back of the shop and no one wanted to see how these things were made or processed or anything like that. But now butcher shops have, they've opened up their shops so customers coming in can actually see all this process and see people tying sausages. But and it's good that it does go on stage as well at meat stock and people can go, oh crap, they make it look easy. So it's great for us because it does show our skill set. But I think there was that saying that there was 2 things you never wanted to see made: policies, like politicians making policies, and sausages. But I don't know. I reckon making sausages is pretty cool. So
yeah, no, mate, that's unreal. And I think it's I'm seeing more and more of it. And what I'm really, you probably might have seen this as well. Craig Munro, one of the butchers, he's sort of he's doing all these videos on how he just preps his meat. And it's just been so intriguing and so amazing to watch. Like even the one a couple of days ago where he's just using this massive needle to roll some beef. I'm like, I've never seen that before. So it's just really cool that we're seeing that more and more. And I guess more than anything else, that you've got this opportunity like social media and you got ways of sharing it, but your people are open to that knowledge and that insight as well.
Yeah, and Craig does some like really old school techniques as well, like the way he rolls like the rib cap and then using like the needle and the pins to type roast. Like not a lot of people can do that. I must say that I can do it, but it takes me ages. Like I wouldn't say that I'm very fluent in it. But yeah, Craig's absolutely smashing out the content. So if anyone wants to have a look at some butchering, he's 100%. Got heaps of videos going out, and he's a hell of a nice guy as well. Like he's part of the Australian butchering team, and I think I was saying to Tom Boucher the other day, he's such a nice guy. I reckon he could slap my missus and I'd still like it.
That's unreal. Oh, mate. It's look, I must admit, I missed the interview with Craig, but watching it over, it's just such a down-to-earth guy. But like, his knowledge and his depth of knowledge from who he's been trained with is unreal. And like, I mean, it's interesting. I've been in this, it's not really a role, but this position from a barbecue sense, or knowing the barbecue community and knowing the butchering sense. But isn't it amazing that, I've got you coming on, we're having a chat, but then I've just through being in the community, knowing all these different butchers, and they're around Australia too, right? You got guys down your way as well in South Australia. You got Ben's down that way. It's just so cool that we actually all connected and seeing each other outside of your local area.
Yeah, that's the best thing I think that's come out of social media for butchers. Anyway, it's you can get really stuck in the four walls of your shop, like mentally, and probably the products that you make as well. And so when kind of meat stock started up, and you could go out and you could chat to all these butchers, I think there might have been like, not tension, but like butchers used to be very segregated, like used to keep to themselves because they didn't want the butcher down the road knowing their recipe.
Yeah.
They wouldn't share anything with anyone. They're very like, this is like my shop, my crew, my recipes, and wouldn't want to share anything with anyone. But then shops started diminishing, and there wasn't, it's just shutting down everywhere. And then we kind of realized that we're not each other's enemy. We probably got to work together to stay afloat, stay alive. And that's where, I guess working with other butchers is great, where you go out and like, I'd give a recipe to someone in New South Wales because, you're not going to be, unless you make it and sell it online and ship it to South Australia. But, I help out people with cooking times for the small goods or recipes, or, I probably wouldn't go out there and start just handing out free recipes because, especially with sausages and small goods, it's not everyone, if I give 10 butchers the same recipe, they will go off and make it and bring it back. It's going to be different because of the people's technique, and they might change a little bit of it as well. But it's the knowledge behind knowing what goes into the recipe and why it does. Because then if something does go wrong or there's something not quite right in the recipe, you know how to change it, you know how to fix it. So I'm probably more open to giving out kind of knowledge like that, like how to make sure that a product is good instead of just giving out, all these sausage recipes, because something that's going to sell really well in my shop might not sell at your shop. So it's not like a blanket, amazing sausage that's going to trump everything in the world. So
no, that's it. And I think you can share everything, but like you said, different versions, different ways, different styles. And it is one of those things that it is good to be open, I think, especially even in the barbecue community and the butchering community, just that openness and that willingness to share. It brings everyone together. And I think we become stronger as a community because of that. So that's unreal. Now, speaking of social media, you've got a few different instances, but how are you finding it as a butcher? Is it a valuable tool? And I guess what's your favorite platform? And I'm just really interested to know that.
Well, I'm probably more partial to Instagram. I think, especially with food and the food industry, it's the pictures, and it's like seeing that side of it all and seeing what other people are getting up to. But I feel like the butchering community is quite strong on Instagram. That's where I have everyone from around the world, from all the World Butcher Challenge teams, chatting to other butchers from around the world on that as well. But yeah, that's probably where I stay updated with everything. I probably spend too much time on Instagram, but I can, if someone chats to me about something, I don't know, I feel like I could do like a news program or something about it, stuff that's happening around the world in butchering, especially in the kind of close community, because I just feel like, someone says, oh, did you see what Norm the Butcher did the other day? Oh yeah, I saw his post, and you can just chat about somebody else's social media channel pretty quickly. But so yeah, I've got the two Instagrams, like mine, Luke Leyson, and I've got the Meetup podcast as well. But yeah, I think like it used to be a great source of ideas, and when you first got on Instagram, you see all this amazing stuff that everyone does around the world. But unfortunately, now I think once you put an idea out there, you can build on that idea. Everyone does build on that idea, which is a good thing for people's shops. But for competition wise, it's not the best thing, because it means that there's a lot of products going on these tables that might be very similar to each other. So sometimes it's always good to have a bit of a step back and I guess not be influenced by what other people are doing, because then you can have a bit of a play around in your own kitchen with a product and hopefully come up with something completely different that no one has done before, and then keep it to yourself and then pop it on a competition table.
Yeah, that's it. And look, I bloody love the fact that there's butchery competition, mate. I mean, obviously it's a butcher challenge. Australia came second last year, and you captained it, so that was amazing. And just even seeing the guys who competed, you got some great guys in the team. Going from, I guess, I'm a butcher. I'm cooking. I'm taking some photos and videos, and now I've got a competition that I'm in. I'm competing in the butchering world. What was that like? I mean, what drew you to it? I suppose. Did you want to? Is that something that just fell on your lap, or was it something you sought out after seeing it coming through and things like that? Because the team seemed to come together pretty quickly last year. It seemed really quick in the way you guys had to get going for Sacramento. But were you competing a while before that?
Yeah, so I reckon the first competition I did would have been in 2017. I reckon it was the Trans-Tasman competition just against the Kiwis. So that was like my audition, say, to get into were then called the Australian Steelers, which was the national team. So I headed over there. The team, and there was one spot open for the World Butcher Challenge, and there was two of us that actually were going for it. So I was lucky enough to do quite well in that competition in my role and to get in. But before that, I remember we got this butcher here, Trevor Hill, in South Australia, and he was on the team prior to that. And I hadn't really heard too much about the team. But it was, I could just sort of because it wasn't really. Maybe that's when social media wasn't massive for butchers, so it wasn't really out there. You might have been in the meat news or like the NBL magazine, which is like a South Australian meat news magazine here as well. And I remember him at I think it was an Australian Butchers Guild night, and he rocked up in his Steelers jacket or whatever his uniform was, and he kind of like threw out the gauntlet, saying, yep, I'm in the team, but if anyone wants to take it off of me, you can step up and try your best or something like that. It was saying those lines, and I'm a pretty competitive person, so I thought, all right, maybe I'll look into it. I'll take it off your hands for you. So I think he'd already been out of the team by this point, or he was his last year or something like that. But headed over to New Zealand. That was the first. I think it was the first competition I'd done, or Butcher Wars may have been the first competition I'd done as well. So I remember. I think it was Melbourne was the first one when I completed. And I shit myself, to be completely honest. I now say there's a picture of me that Paul's got, and I look like a bloody ghost, even more pale than I do now, but just white with fear. But I soon realized that with these competitions, it's nothing. No one's asking you to do something that you haven't done before.
That's it.
With the formats, it's you've practiced, or you should have probably practiced, have an idea of what you're doing. And you do it 5 days a week at work. And especially in the shop where I'm at now, it's Saturdays used to be, before COVID, say the C word, but Saturdays used to be stupid busy. You'd have a lineup at the door. So it's almost like you had an audience watching your work anyway. But as I started doing the competitions, I started probably getting a bit of a bug for it, and to do more and more, and then when the Butchers Challenge come around, and I think we came third. So we won against the Kiwis in the Trans-Tasman. We came third in Ireland, and then second in America. So I've always got a bit of a taste of a win. I've always been like the bridesmaids and never the bride. I've never won a Butcher Wars. Always come second or fourth or something like that. So it's probably good in a way because I want to be going back for more, but. I've never got the chocolates, unfortunately, but been pretty close.
That's all right, man. And I remember watching your video when you released on the Butcher team, and you're like, "As long as we beat the Kiwis, that's all I want to do. You just want to beat the Kiwis."
And we did.
You've done pretty.
And look, it was. I reckon so.
And I think it's really cool that. I don't know. I suppose it continues, right? I suppose it's there, and we were gonna. I would say 2023. Gosh, 10 years ahead. Let's go back. Let's bring it forward. What's the plan for this year? Last year we had some good success. Matty Tykes, young apprentice, first place there. You guys got second. We got a second place in the Young Butchers, world's best team member Tom Bush as well. So. We've had a few little trophies. I think there's a few things that may have not have translated out of that event, but we had multiple placings, which is amazing. So what's planned for 2023? Do we know who's in the team yet?
No, so we're doing selections at the moment, but it's gonna be a hard training, I guess, going forward, because we did have so much success. I think it was the most successful Australian team that had gone overseas, polling every single, apprentices, young butcher, the team of 6 as well, and the world team. So, it's like Matty Tyson, absolute champion. Like I remember that day we were just going around the shops, just shopping together. And then I saw him on stage, world's best apprentice. And I know that guy. I was out shopping with him today. So, and it just started the night off to a good one. And then Gareth Hunt getting second in the world. And I gotta say to Joe Mabley as well, he came 4th in the young butchers. So like we had two Aussies were right up there. So I guess moving forward, we're actually in the trial period now. So everyone that wanted to put their hand up for the Australian team have put their hand up. And everyone is going through these challenges that are set by Shannon Walker. So the first one we're knocking out is like a barrel of lamb, or like a lamb short loin. So basically, video, sending yourself working, so that way we can tell what people's knife skills are like, and the creativity and product. And and I guess it's probably the hardest point is selecting the team, because you want to select the right people to take over, and it's not just a matter of going out there, putting a competition together, top 6, make it into the team, and then you kind of push them into a room together and see if it all works out. You got to pick positions. You don't go into an AFL team with 21 forwards or 18 forwards, or you need to have a mix of people and good personalities as well. Like it's a team sport, so you can't have anyone with a big ego there, and a little bit of ego so they can beat the other countries, but make sure we're all on the same page, and we're there to we're there to be to win as a team. So you got to make sure you pick the right people, and so I feel like this is like the hard part. It's because it's always the hard decision to try to see who's in the team, or to compete. But I guess what we're trying to do now is to select like a big squad, which we want anyone and everyone involved. So if competing's not your style, you don't like getting on stage, or it's not really a thing that you're keen on, but you really you have a really big creative side and you want to create products, then by all means, like, you can be part of the team. You just be like a product developer. We had Darren O'Rourke on the team last year as well, who he goes, competing's not my thing, but I want to be involved and I want to help out. And he's got a chefing background as well. So it was really good to have his insight to go, hey, how would you cook that? Or have you tried this? And so it's basically anyone and everyone that wants to be involved can be involved. But unfortunately, there's only 6
on the stage.
6 on the stage. But that doesn't mean, the Adelaide Crows don't go out there and, the people on the field, they don't go back and do the training programs and stuff like that. Like, there's a big squad that looks after it. Like, we were lucky enough to have like a big team last year that helped us out with everything. And in the training sessions, we had people rocking up. It was clean up and pick up and give us their insights into what they think works and what they think might not work. So sometimes there might be a little bit too much noise in the room, but that comes down to the management and the team members to, I guess, filter out and listen what can be used and what can't be used.
Yeah, right. And that's, I think Shannon Walker's obviously, he obviously playing the manager role there, which has been great, and he has a great insight into the industry as well. So that's really valuable. You mentioned sort of positions, and I suppose, end of the day, you guys, just for people that haven't maybe seen the presentation at the end of it, you guys have a presentation table where you break down the meat and you sort of present it in I guess I would say in a value add way, like, okay, you're going to, this is kind of a product that you can go home and bake, or these are the cuts cut up perfectly the way you need it. I guess, where does that design come from? And then from a team point of view, is that something that you go like, all right, Lawsy, you're good at this, Brett Laws does some amazing, beautiful cuts of meat that look, got vegetables and stuff inside and things. So do you go like, hey, that's your strength, you do that, you break this down? Is that kind of the planning or the plan of attack? And how do you come up with the creative end at the I guess the table point of view? Like, how do you go, okay, this is the end product that we want to head towards, and how does that develop?
Yeah, well, I guess last year's probably a bit of a. It's not the best one to go by, only because we had 5 months to organise the team sponsorship, getting over there, and then the display, the products, the workflow as well, which I'm really big on. Like, what's the best way we can get, all this meat from a hanging carcass down the line through the table onto the display table, looking like it is. So normally, I'd say this normally, but there is no normal or abnormal way to do it. You would have a boner or a beef boner, lamb boner, like basically break down the carcass. You could have like a slicer trimmer that kind of gets this stuff ready, and then your value adders as well. And then normally you could have one person that kind of does your display. So that's like Tom Boucher's role. He's got like kind of garnishing and products as well. But because of the short amount of time, and we could only really get together three times, I reckon we only practiced before we went over there, which is ridiculous because normally you got 2 years to prepare for this. And, in the team gone by, I've had, 14 run throughs, 15 run throughs as well. So we went more of a structure that myself took care of the lamb. So I would break down the lamb, trim it to what I need and make products from the lamb. So therefore I could practice in my own shop. Gary took care of the chickens and the mincing. So that way he could do that at his own shop. And the Sydney boys kind of worked together as well. Craig broke down the pork for Lawsy. Lawsy broke up the beef, and Gareth broke up the forequarter. So we did it a little bit of an abstract way, just because that way we could practice by ourselves.
That's great way to do it.
Yeah, and we really wanted every product, bar a few that didn't really need garnishing, went through Tom. Because it's such short notice, we wanted to make sure that every product was in sync with each other, and that when they went to the table, it all looked like they belonged together, rather than 6 butchers from around Australia just putting meat on plates, putting it out there, and then everyone's got their own style. But this way, it was all Tom's style. He could put it where it needed to be, and he kind of set up the display as well. But I think the theme really got people. So I don't know if people have seen the displays, but Germany, who won it, had a massive beer tent, and it was stuff hanging down. It was like levels. It was crazy. Like the amount of stuff they brought over was nuts. But we didn't have enough time to pack a pallet, send a pallet over, get it there. But then also to practice with that stuff, we would have had to pack it straight away and send it. So we went a very, very simple white tablecloth, white plates, and really colorful products and garnishes. And we still had levels and stuff like that in there. But I think there's a lot of teams out there now that are not going to know what to do, because everyone thought bigger is better. Bigger is better. We need a massive wow factor with crazy stuff like flashing lights, like smoke machines, like moving this, and just like. But then we went real simple, and came away with second as well. So there's going to be a lot of teams scratching their head and not knowing what to do.
And I think it's and I suppose is there a element of how the judging, do you know what you judged on? I suppose it just seems like for Germany, obviously have the massive thing. You guys have a very low key but colorful display. Is the judging clear on what they're sort of going to judge on, or is it kind of still a bit vague to make it interesting?
No, it's mostly like we see all the scoring sheets before the comp, so we know what the judges are walking around with and what they're looking for. And even though the display is the last thing people see, and you could probably just go through the display and go, oh yeah, that's number 1, number 2, number 3, but they might have not used all the meat, so that's deduct points. Like utilization is real key. So if you used everything, 10 points. If you have 2 kilos left over, it kind of drops down to 8, and then if you have 10 kilos left over, it drops down and down and down. But if you don't, if you don't use all the meat, you're probably not going to win. Because the deciders, they're only decided by a few points up on the top table as well. So if you got 10 kilos of mince left over, you pretty much just shot yourself in the foot, because that's 5 points negative. That you're not going to get back. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
But knife skills, cleanliness, teamwork, how you work with a team. It's not 6 individuals; it's a team working together. Like the judging seat is huge. Like it's so much to take in. But I think final display is out of 10, and I think the final display is the only one that's kind of left up to the judges, where it's did you can you draw inspiration from the final display? So it's kind of left up to the judges, where people could have looked at our display and thought, oh, it's a little bit simple. Like, I don't have that much inspiration, but it's the products that they were looking at. Or they could look at a massive display and go, they've got everything there. But if you actually look at their products, there's nothing really too crazy. They haven't done anything too crazy with the meat. So that does come down to what the judges think and what. And I reckon it's got a lot to do with like culture as well, like what they're used to seeing in their shops. And if they can think, oh, that could probably sell in our, but I guess it's the judge's job to open their mind and go, that might not sell here, but it could sell in another country, or I have never seen that before. And they could think maybe it's not cookable or sellable, but it could be in a different country. So that's probably the hardest job is judging. Like, I wouldn't want to be a judge. I think it's probably competing. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. And look, you said there's meat left over, and the animal size between like what we have in Australia, what we grow here or we raise here, and what we find in the US, does that play a role in, I suppose, how you guys prepare? Like, do you go like, well, we know that it's going to be X times bigger, and we need to make sure we are ready for that? Or is that something that you kind of have to like wing at the end of the day and go, like, okay, this is a much bigger beast than we expected?
Yeah, well, it is called the World Butchers Challenge. So as much as you can prepare for it, I likened it to a dance rehearsal. You know exactly what you're going to do, but then on the day, you're supposed to go out there on stage and do your routine, but something might go wrong or something might be a little bit different. The stage might be smaller, so you got to reel it in a bit. But so the World Butchers Challenge do a really good job of making everything very transparent for competitors. So all the information that we need is on the website, and they're very, if you've got questions, ask them. So we know exactly what machinery we're getting, what brand it is, what size it is, like all the specs of all the meat. So yes, the beef and the lamb and the pork were much bigger in America, but we knew that going into it. So I mean, the pork was a bit of a curveball because the fat on it was like 2 inches. It was ridiculous. Wow. Like, especially for the apprentices. I feel bad for the apprentices and the young butchers because they compete the day before. So we can see them compete and go, okay, the pork's going to be a bit fatter. Now we can talk about what we're going to do with it. But those poor butchers out there, they straight into it. They go, Jesus. But yeah, that's why it's called a challenge. There's always a bit of curveballs, and when the carcasses were hanging up on chains where to break it from, the beef, it was hung really high, and it was a little bit unsafe. And also, I mean, I couldn't reach the top of the lamb. Like, I'm not short, but I'm not the tallest bloke. So it was, I'm on my tippy toes trying to get the trunk off of the lamb, and and I know Gareth as well. We made sure that the beef came down a lot lower, because that's probably a bigger carcass to break. But things like that, curveballs, like, you got to be on your toes, and you just got to make decisions on your feet pretty quickly.
That's unreal. And I suppose, do we have a plan for knocking off the Germans this year, or we're just going to focus on getting through and just obviously smashing across everyone?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to kind of answer because, I got asked this question a fair bit, like, how are we going to win the next one? And like, I don't think we're that far off the mark, but it just like, we could, the judges probably be a bit different. So they might be looking for different things. So we could tailor, we get some of our judges judging sheets back. So we know some things we can work on, but then we might not have those judges next time. So I guess we just got to do what we do and put our best foot forward, come up with some, great products. And just, that's all you can really do as a team. You just do your best, and then hopefully the judges see that as well. But hats off to the German team as well. Like, they're nuts. Like, they're nuts about meat. Like, they just love it so much. Like, you could see the emotion in their face. Like, they're coming up to the stage when they won, like, they're crying and they're yelling and they're just like so excited. So you can't not be happy for them. At the same time, like, to be honest, where we got called up there a second, I was like buzzing. Like, I thought, for the amount of time we had to prepare and to get that result as a team that's only practiced for 3 times was ridiculous. And even though 4 out of the 6 blokes had never been on that world stage before for the World Butchers Challenge, they all had heaps of competition experience. So we weren't really going in there like underdone. We were just going in there probably relying on our skill more than our practice. and just kind of trusting that each other would, if we had a curveball, we know how to deal with it, and we, just trusting that we could all kind of get through it together, and and we did.
Sorry, well, all the best for this year. Obviously, do you know when it is and where it is?
Nah, no idea yet. It would be nice to know. I don't know where it is. Don't know when it is. But I reckon it's supposed to be an announcement soon. But soon, okay. I'm not sure if that's days or weeks, or if they'll make a big deal about it. Anyone in the meat industry, they'll know it's coming. It'll be shared about 14 million times on Facebook as well, or Instagram, and I'll talk about it on the podcast. You'll talk about it on your podcast. So
absolutely, and as the team looking for sponsors, I know if anyone's listening or listening to this in the future, they're looking for sponsors at the moment, and support. How do they get in touch with the team?
Yeah, so I would always looking for sponsors, always looking for help. As I said before, this isn't it's not just the six people that go out there and compete. This is an Australian butchering team, so we want the whole industry behind us. So we're always looking for help and sponsorship. So best bets are to get in touch with Shannon Walker. His Instagram is all things meat. You can either chat to him there, or you can send an email. I can put his I'll give out his phone number to a public database, and we can all just contact him from there. But Shannon Walker or myself, anyone, Craig Munro, Brett Laws, if you touch base with any existing team member or team member from last competition as well, we'll point you in the right direction. So please reach out if you do feel like being a part of the team or being a sponsor.
That's unreal. And I'll pop Shannon Walker's Instagram account in the comments as well, so people can see it across the platforms. Now, you obviously you run the Meetup podcast. What's what drew you to starting a podcast, and I think you're about 50 or 60 episodes in roughly. How are you finding it, and how much fun are you having as well?
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. It's harder work than I thought. And you probably understand this as well. Like you think, I'll just chat to a couple of people, and you record it and chuck it online, and then you kind of I probably had a bit too much spare time on my hands. I reckon. I thought, I'm always doing something outside of work. So, butchers, we work long days as it is, but people ask me what my hobby is, and it's always cutting up meat, or it's something to do with meat. It's either cooking meat, talking about meat, or preparing for competitions. But I kind of put it together through COVID, because I guess I'd been overseas and I'd touched base and made all these connections with all these butchers, and then all the networking stuff just stopped for 2 years. So, I listened to a bit of Gary V, and he keeps harping on about podcasts and stuff like that. So might as well just give it a go. And that way I can, it's not a money maker or anything like that. It's just a good way for me to network with other butchers, farmers, processors, or barbecuers around Australia and the world. And they're probably the best thing I get out of it, is just that relationship with all those people. So it definitely takes up a lot more time than I thought. It's enjoyable. It's editing and promoting it and marketing it, and trying to tee up interviews with people that are in America or anywhere in Europe with the time differences. Like I've woken up at 4:30 a.m., done a podcast before I've gone to work, and I think the English, they're probably the worst time zone to connect with, because they're at home after work having a beer, and I've woken up trying to have a coffee to wake up, and trying to be lively as well at that time of the morning. I'm not a morning person for some reason, which I thought I would be by now. But it's really good, and it's just kind of like when you get a bit of positive feedback about it, and people tell you that they enjoyed listening to it, it kind of makes you want to go and keep doing it. So I mean, if no one listened to it and no one told me they enjoyed it, I probably would have thrown it in by now. But it's good to kind of open up all these relationships and all these networks with everyone who's listening, so they can, I guess, if you can't get to Meatstock, or if you can't get to the World Butcher Challenge, or all these networking events, at least you can listen to a podcast with a couple of butchers talking about new ideas in their shop or how they run their shop. And it's actually pretty frightening on how similar butchers are from all around the world. Like we got the same problems, we got the same pet hates. We like all different ideas, and that's always good to hear. But just the similar stuff in the shop is just outstanding for something so widespread in the world.
It's a bit like that with the IT industry that I'm in as well, where you go to these events and you start talking and you kind of go, no, we all have the same problems. But and I must admit, that you don't realize how much time it takes. Like you start to add it up, and even prepping and getting and organizing hosts, it's crazy amount of time. But now look, like I said, it's very, very rewarding, and I sort of enjoy these conversations, like us catching up as well. It's just super rewarding, and I suppose it gives a different ability. I haven't ventured into podcasts yet, so mine's sort of more in the video format. I mean, obviously, people can listen to it, so to speak, because there's nothing much happening on the video except us chatting. But I mean, you've been doing it for a couple of years or 2 or 3 years now. Do you have any tips for anyone who want to venture down a podcast? Like what are your top 3 tips if someone wants to start a podcast?
Well, I reckon you got to pick a topic. Like you don't, even if you're not but it's not so much a topic, but you just got to kind of know what you're talking about. Because you see all these open-ended podcasts that I think are good for people that already got a massive community or a massive following already, and they can just talk about anything they want and you listen to it because you're in it for them. But if you want to talk about a topic or like a theme, I'd probably write that down. The best thing that I find is actually writing these things down, because then that way, you know what you're on about as well, and you can kind of come back to it. Don't think you need to buy all this crazy equipment. Like I went out and I've got 2 of these. I've never used one of them. All these headphones, and then I've had podcasts with people that are doing it on their phone with their Apple iPod speakers and stuff, and the audio is crystal clear. Like you don't need to go you can build up to that, and that you'll get better. But if you want to start out and you want to just see if you're into it, just start one. That's probably the third piece of advice, is just stop thinking about it and just do it. And if you need any help, just contact me. It's a hard thing to get your head around, just the different, I guess, platforms and how to set it up. And that's a bit of research, and YouTube videos are great for that. But once you got your head around it, it's not confusing at all. But you could probably sit there for a year, 18 months talking about it,
planning.
That's probably anything in life as well. Like you could plan it, go over your head. I haven't got the time now, or I'm not ready for it. But you're never going to be a light bulb moment when you sit down on the couch going, I'm 100% ready to do this. And then you'll start doing it and you'll bugger something up and you have to learn it again. You're never going to be 100% ready to do anything. So just jump into it and get started.
No, that's it. And I mean, even progressing in the way I do this show, it's changed so much over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, right? So it started on Instagram. Even there we learned different ways of doing it, and just little tweaks along the way. I hate watching my first couple on Instagram. It just sort of freaks me out. I can't do it. And then you sort of tweaks along the way, and you sort of realize, okay, this is the format that works well, and this is what you're comfortable with. But I guess to your point, starting is the key, and I think continuing to evolve. Like what your first episode is going to be nothing like your 10th, and your 10th is going to be nothing like your 50th. But it's that journey along the way. And fundamentally, if you're having a decent conversation and telling a story and explaining, like we shared a fair bit of information in regards to the Butcher Wars, and you've got some knowledge coming out of it, you're winning. So that's unreal. And now where can people find your podcast, mate?
So the podcast is should be on all good podcast platforms, but I guess the main one, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts. The links in my Instagram. As well, my link tree. So you can jump on that. But I would say if anyone wants to listen to the Meetup podcast, you can go back and listen to the first few if you want. But don't get me wrong, they're good, and I got good guests on. Like I've had Shannon Walker and Jess Prowse as my first 2 guests.
No one too.
Because I thought, I can talk to these people, because I was shitting myself, to be honest. Like even though I know I know Jess and I know Shannon quite well, I was still nervous to record an interview with them. So the later ones, I think I personally get better in speaking and asking questions and probably not saying yep heaps. I remember that. Yep. I kept replying to everything they said. By all means, go back and listen to them. But go through and pick out the guests that you want to hear from. And if you do start at the start, don't worry, they do get better.
Ditto, right? My plan is to move some of the more recent ones to a podcast platform, but I don't think I'd go back to 2000 2020. I'm really back 20 years in my date system.
Living in the past, man.
I know. Back in 2000 when I was on MP3s.
Yeah.
And, Winamp. But yeah, look, that's good. Like, where I mean, I popped your Instagram up here as well, so obviously people can find you there. And when you get to Luke Leyson on I guess Instagram, you have that link tree, which obviously takes you to different areas. So
yeah.
But the old cliche, Luke, make sure if you are going there, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you sort of support the podcast too, because I think that plays a huge part in I guess the effort as well. It's a nice feeling when you see those little subscribers go up. So go from there. But besides the Butchers Challenge this year, mate, what's on the cards? Will we see you at Meat Stock? I'm hoping we do.
Yeah. So I'll be at Melbourne Meat Stock definitely. I reckon I'm going to take the podcast on the road. I've got like a little setup I can plug into my phone, and I'll probably be hanging out the back of the Butcher Wars stage, and chatting to some butchers. And I think you're there and you're hosting Pitmasters Q&A.
Right? Meet the Pitmasters. Yeah, it's a Q&A with the Pitmasters.
Yeah.
First gig on the stage every day, so it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, you made it onto the website. How good is that? You're on the guest list.
Barely a guest, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to be. That's the best thing about these chats as well. I can come and actually meet you in real life and at the meat shops and have a beer. So we're roaming around that. I got the butcher team that we're start do all the trials and get that underway. Classes, teach chefs and cooks some classes like I mentioned before at Pirate Life. So got a fair bit on, but it's all it's all good fun. And I guess when winter comes, it will slow down and all the good weather's gone, so all the festivals will stop, and then I'll have the free time.
The post Meat Stock season, it's such a hangover, and you just kind of like you're hanging so bad. Come May, June, you're like, oh my god, this is the longest time before we have Meat Stock again. It is just devastating mentally because you're just like, oh, I just need to do that again. Teaching, I mean, you mentioned quickly teaching. Is that something like? I suppose one thing I'd love to do is learn more about knife skills, things like I cut myself. I have a couple of mates that laugh at me all the time because every time I do any cooking, I'll just cut myself. I just can't help it. But is there, for someone out there and wants to like learn to break down an animal or cut some meat or learn more about taking a larger cut of meat and getting some smaller portions so you're getting value out of your cuts? Is there any tips or anyone that you recommend people follow or get behind, even yourself? Like, is that something you do in those training sessions?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of more gravitate towards chefs and cooks in kitchen crew. Like I did do a few classes before COVID for the general public, but I found it was a lot of work. Is setting up the class, selling tickets is the hard part because unless you've got a massive audience already, it's getting it out there. Like a lot of people love the idea of it, but it's just getting it out there. But I mean, it's good fun and it's rewarding, and it's nice to be able to kind of showcase butchering to the food industry in a different way. But if anyone wants to learn like the barbecuers and stuff like that, your best bet to go to your butcher shop. Have a good relationship with your butcher. I mean, we've pulled customers from the other side of the counter to our benches and showed them how we prepare cuts, and you could always ask them, like, do you offer a bit of a breakdown, or can I pay you to, if I buy a lamb off you, can I break it up with you? Because I mean, Paul, he does it at work sometimes as well. Like he'll have one-on-one classes, and that's probably like I've done group sessions before, and it's hard for me to keep an eye on 8 people with knives boning out a leg of lamb. But it's probably more rewarding if you get like a one-on-one, or you get like a couple of people together, go to your butcher shop and ask them if they can tailor-made a class for you, and they'll probably make a little bit of money off of it, and that way they get to sell you a whole lamb or talk you through it. I mean, butchers love what they do as well, so they'd probably want to talk to you about it. But you're probably going to get way more out of it if you're in a smaller group or a one-on-one class, because like videos and stuff like that on YouTube are great, but it's just having that person to ask all the time to say, like, what about this, or like, am I doing it right here, or just someone to guide you. Like I think YouTube and like butchering videos are great and can get you to a certain point. But if you want to get better and learn a bit more in depth, then the butcher's probably your best bet.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And look, it's just one of those things. Craig Munro, his video, same thing. I want to break down. I've got a couple of beef shins sitting in the freezer that I would just want to basically roll and see how I can get that cut it out and roll it. So, seeing that kind of stuff is great. But like you said, it's really nice to go like, is that normal? And
yeah.
So
blood squirting through the bar. Is that normal? No, it's not.
No, it's mate. But look, it's been really great to have a chat to you, mate. Really get to know you, and look, all the bets for the Butcher Challenge, and as well as seeing you at Meat Stock. So looking forward to sort of catching up there and things like that. And before we go, do you want to give anyone a shout out, mate? Is there anyone in the industry, or whether it's barbecue or butchering, that you would get inspiration from, that you'd like to sort of give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, well, I guess there's a whole heap of people, but I reckon that
don't leave anyone out.
Yeah, no, I can just say everyone. No, well, I've already mentioned Craig, and I talk about Tom Boucher too much anyway, so he gets enough praise as it is. But my boss at work, I'll get him to listen to it. I'll say you got to listen to Reyan because I talk to him. But just skip to the end, mate. That's where I talk about. Yeah, but he's basically the driving force. That's where I am today. Like, he's always pushing me to go further. Extra study. I've done a lot of certificates and diplomas and stuff like that in like meat and butchering like that. He's always pushed me and been a real driving force behind that, and I guess kept me entertained in the industry. So hasn't let my career get stale at all. New products, new ways of thinking at work, and so I probably wouldn't be here without him. So he's not one to loathe. He doesn't really like the limelight. He's quite happy to push myself and pull out there, and we can do competitions and we can do classes or podcasts and stuff. But he's just your typical 6 foot bloody 2 big burly butcher bloke that just loves having to play around in the shop and kind of pushes his staff as far as they want to be pushed. Dave Armstrong, thanks, mate.
Nice work, Dave. Sounds like an amazing mentor to have in the butchering industry, mate. So it's very lucky to have that. So thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on. And look, like I said, we'll catch up soon, I'm sure. If anyone wants to find Luke, Instagram is probably the best place at Luke Leyson. Nice and simple. Nice to have a clean tag on Instagram, isn't it? I couldn't
think of a cool name, so I just went with mine. But that's the story behind that.
my name's the worst, like River Appreciation. I got to explain that to people. Like, well, there's a backstory, but anyway, it's too long, the story. Thanks, heaps, mate. Good to have you on board, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate it. I rib appreciation it.
Love it. No one's done that before, so I really appreciate it. No worries. Thank you, Luke. Catch you soon.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
See ya. All right, guys. It was Luke Leyson. Chatting about Butchery, the Butcher Challenge, everything, meat, stock, competition butchering, rather. Really get to get some insight as well. And again, go check him out. Luke's doing some amazing stuff. Hopefully, we'll get to see the team sort of take on the world of the Butcher Challenge, which I'm really looking forward to as well. Now, we got a next episode coming up. We've got Diva Q. So Danielle's coming on the 10th of March, 10 a.m. show. So breakfast beers for me. I'm not going to complain. Looking forward to having a chat to them. And then we're sort of hitting meat stock season. So we're going to be at Meat Stock Melbourne doing Meet the Pitmasters, but we'll also be doing the ad hoc interviews here and there too. So if you see us, come grab us. And most importantly, if you are at Meat Stock, come grab us, because we want to hear what barbecue means to you. So that's one of the main things we're going to look at capturing at these events. So come catch us. A huge shout out again to our sponsors, Without Fear, Mama Melise and Ground Zero. And till next time, look after yourselves, and see you in a couple of weeks. Catch you later.